I was actually racking my brains about what to speak about on this radio show. It's funny how sometimes you can flow with ease, and others you have what one may term as writer's block. It's almost like you have to force the flow at times, like sucking up overly thick milkshake through one of those extremely curly novelty straws. I can put this down to several things potentially. Certainly, the Wi-Fi and 5G electromagnetic distortions that are daily impacting our physical vehicles can be held accountable. The UK, like many places in the world, are preparing to suffer the effects of 20,000 satellites poised to beam an inescapable blanket of microwave radiation upon us all. It may as well be referred to as a death ray. And even though they, to my knowledge, the satellites, have not been brought online as yet, various cities across the UK and the US, etc., are becoming 5G encased areas, and the effects are being experienced. I imagine they are testing the technology through random and sporadic bursts of 5G, distributed lovingly at various targets. I wouldn't say I was hyper electrosensitive, but I can feel the difference. My house is in fact a Wi-Fi dead zone. Confused were the technicians when they were unable to install the Wi-Fi in my home and had to resort to Ethernet cables. And really, that is no bad thing considering. My place of work, my 9 to 5 cabal job that I need until I am aware enough to not need it, is swimming in Wi-Fi too, as most places publicly are. Although we do need to be realistic. We need to support ourselves and work with the reptilian system to survive. But with our focus securely on the is and the recognition of it, and our real intent set and established, and we are recognizing our real awareness and endeavoring to become more aware, then having a cabal job for the time being isn't too much of a cause for concern. It might well be, should we have had no awareness or recognition of it, knowledge or recognition of the is, then all we would have would be our personal lives and our jobs, and then we would be severely limiting ourselves to cause and effect creation resultingly. With the connection to the is established, the sincerity unquestionable, then eventually we will surpass creation, and the lower vehicles we utilize in the psych realms will simply drop away. Any karma cause and effect we have created, because regardless of our real intent and awareness and focus, we will cause effects. These effects will be handled. The guides, in fact, do take on karmic debt of sincere, focused individuals. They appreciate the fact that in creation, we are going to create and exact effects some way or another. We are driving cars. Well, some of us, me included, yes, adding to the pollution, and our cabal jobs play a part in the overall demise of the planet. But we can work to mitigate our impact as much as we are able. Anyway, for a time, at my place of work, they were unable to activate the Wi-Fi. For a time, but then they found the fault, corrected it, and thus we were all then able to bask in the soothing rays of vehicle-destroying, cancer-inducing radiation. And I experienced the differences immediately. It was like suddenly wading through treacle. Every action now took extra effort, expending more energy, and I had more fatigue as a result. Headaches and various other symptoms were suddenly affecting me. Yet the moment I would walk outside, the heaviness would lift. It was very tangible, and outside of the Wi-Fi zone I was revitalized. At the moment, the radiation Wi-Fi waves are contained to buildings, but with the advent of 5G, there is nowhere to hide. The stronger the radiation, the shorter the wave. So they need to have extreme quantities of booster devices and technology inserted every so many feet of space. And as I was saying, I can feel the difference between a Wi-Fi area and places absent of it. I can say quite confidently that in my town, and probably others, we are being blasted with extra levels of microwaves. What's alarming is how one gets used to Wi-Fi fields and adapts as best one is able. As they continue to roll out this stuff, it's very likely those that can adapt the best will be the survivors, although it's not a very enviable world they will be surviving in. And another occurrence I might well associate with the sporadic 5G testing may well be my blankness of memory at times, my inability to put together streams of thought and focus on writing, etc. Of course, it's all about awareness, and our vehicles that we have created and animated to experience the psych realms have nothing to do with the real awareness. As awareness and recognition of the real universes is beyond the limited, though essential for experience and comparison, vehicles on the 5 levels of creation. But naturally, it's not then encouraged to eat ice cream all day and go swimming in dragon-infested lava. We do need these vehicles until we don't. And part of our experience here, how we earn our way with these, is sharing. And so, if our vehicle is compromised to the extent that we can't share effectively, blank mind syndrome, agitation, and anything that causes us additional discomfort, will have us focusing more so on our physical vehicle than the connection to the real you that is beyond creation. But when it comes to sharing, it isn't just on the physical level that we can do this. We share throughout creation. If the real you gets all 5 bodies under control and with the program, then they will all be running around and sharing too, on the levels they reside in. It's a case of the real you convincing the 5 lower bodies to get on board, or they will be rambling about and living seemingly subjective lives. It makes sense that as we stack the levels and the vehicles we have within them, then each vehicle will be more aware than those that are below it. But our vehicle in, say, the physical or the astral level will not be aware of what's going on with those above it. It's quite funny how it works. We effectively have 5 little created selves running hither and thither on their respective levels, with the real you, as the creator of them, trying to get their attention. Of course, the real you is, and so it is in a state of completeness. And so it makes no sense that it must then prove and reveal itself to the lower vehicles, much like the is. It won't prove and reveal itself. It will, of course, endlessly give hints and experiences and in dreams and on the physical, but it is up to the personal little self to recognize and perceive the is. It is a choice each individual must make. The stacking of the levels and the vehicles is just for the literal interpretation too, as we are so very literalized. We cannot grasp or consider what the is without it being formed into a literal reference. In fact, there are no levels, ups, downs, highers, lowers, as these are all literal interpretations for the personal self to grasp. The physical level is all about opposites. The real universe is, and the is, and nothing can be added to it, no idea or thought. It is pure in its isness, so what can be added to that? The lower vehicles, then, do not have the facility to recognize the is. They are designed to experience the creation simulation, and that is all. Thus, you cannot utilize the vehicles to fathom out the is. You can't consider it. You can't think what it is, or feel what it is. You can only perceive it and recognize it with your real awareness. It is your real awareness that is beyond the creation realms and with the is, and that is the only thing you can recognize it with. Many people will try and figure it out, but you can't, because you're using your mental vehicle to do this. It is a process, and it takes the time it will, according to the created consciousness and self-imposed restrictions and limitations decided by the personal self. So first we have the knowledge, the references to the is. Then we must recognize it through awareness. The lower vehicles each have their specific function. They can only do what they are designed for and operate within the life levels they are aligned with. The real you overviews creation and its little vehicles it has within each. So yes, some of the vehicles may be unaware of the others, but the real you is aware of them all. The way to recognize the is more so then is to let go of all that which prevents one from doing so. Yes, we have to drag these pesky bodies about, all 5 of them, but when we make the connection to our real awareness, we are no longer only utilizing these created vehicles. For without the connection, all we will be doing is feeling and thinking predominantly. We create ideas, we chase thrills, we create and cling to attitudes. We attach emotional ideas to the situations that we find ourselves in, and all of it keeps us restricted to the psych realms. For if you only ever stimulate and utilize the vehicles in creation, the effects you cause will be a confinement to the levels these vehicles dwell within. A connection then to the real universes and the is will have us focusing now beyond cause and effect creation. And as the scales are tipped more so in favour of our focus with the is, as opposed to our personal lives, then we are positioning ourselves more so in the real universes, and ultimately we will walk through creation and into the true reality of light and sound. So as the process continues, according to the extent to which we focus on it and activate our real awareness, the agreements and tap lines will drop away also. It's prudent to practice the state of awareness too. Stop thinking and stop feeling, and what do you see? Everything is still there. So life exists irrespective of your thoughts and feelings that you've added to it, and the vehicles these qualities are associated with. This is the state of being you need to perceive the is, absent of thoughts, feelings, and the like. You are now with your real awareness. So yes, Practice this state and learn to be objective. Duane refers to this as the objective view. Start to regard yourself, your thoughts and emotions objectively. Don't get involved or immersed with them. For yes, as long as we have these vehicles, we will have thoughts and feelings. They are going nowhere until we drop the vehicles. But we can simply be, and objectively watch the thoughts and emotions without drowning in them. Paul Twitchell spoke of the 5 bodies like little soldiers. You can watch them dance and play and do all the things they do from a perspective of real awareness. You will find, too, that the dreams will begin to take on a different quality as you continue your process of is recognition and the connection to your real awareness. You will still have real side dreams where you are in a role within the script of a scene for the purposes of becoming more aware, but you will start to have dreams where you are still in these roles, but are observing them as though from outside the experience. I've been having experiences of this nature in more recent times, and I certainly was not having them initially, where I am objectively observing myself in my dreams while I have these experiences. And so then, you are in a state of real awareness, and from there you can decipher the dreams more effectively, for it is far easier sometimes to explain someone else's dreams than your own. Yes, because generally in dreams we are trying to understand dreams literally. The literal part of us is that which we have created and been indoctrinated with, where we can't perceive beyond that which we see with our physical senses. So naturally, we will try to determine a dream's meaning by what we see, and according to our personal little selves, drawing upon the references we have at our disposal. The references being somewhat limited, as generally they are the memories and experiences we have had on the physical life level only. And so we try to fit what we experience into a little box we have labelled as our literal self, our literal life and self. But always behind the dream is something real, as the real you is that which the 5 vehicles stems from, as the is that which all of creation stems from. So it is with dreams. Behind the dream is something else, a hidden something beyond what the dream is showing you, that your literal self and your other vehicles have not the tools to decipher. Only your real awareness can fully dissect the meaning of the dreams you have, as they are demonstrations by the guides and the is, and they only operate from a place of being isness. So one must see beyond the surface of the dreams and not get involved in trying to figure them out with the mind, or to add emotional reaction to the experience. An objective, indifferent, disinterested point of view is then encouraged to try and perceive what it is the dream is trying to convey. As an example, I had a dream where I crashed my car, and I was unable to go to work that day. My literal self would have simply seen that I had crashed my car, and now I can't go to work, and that would be all. But, putting to one side the literal self, being in the nowness, and connecting to one's real awareness and perceiving it, impressions will float in from the real you. On this occasion, then, the car represented my physical body, and it was suggesting that if I keep going to work, I'm going to suffer some kind of illness or body breakdown that will not allow me to continue to do so. So, on this occasion, the dream was a heads up, but it had to be recognized just like the is. The is and the real side dreams are all about recognition through our real awareness. So, yes, I have found that I am now starting to occasionally objectively view my dreams from outside of the role that I am playing within them. And this then demonstrates that not only am I then in my state of awareness on the real side, but I can also glean the information, sharings, and demonstrations that the real guides are providing more effectively. So it's worth making a study on the 5 bodies, how they work, and what they do. But realistically, it's only the mental level 4 and emotional level 2 bodies we need to concern ourselves with. The causal body is the seat of all our previous incarnations, a storehouse of all our lives that affect us to this very day. Because even if we have a new vehicle, our created consciousness is the culmination of all we have experienced and agreed to. Yes, our vehicles are new, but our created consciousness remains and is constantly added to in each lifetime. Old ideas from millions of lifetimes ago can have secured our agreements, and, unless dissolved or redacted, the agreements remain to this day. Think of all those millions of lifetimes of agreements sitting wedged in your causal body. That is what Dwayne means when he says we must face all of ourselves and creation. We must face all that we have consciously created for ourselves. That is still affecting and restricting us to this day. So, with the connection to the ears and the New You song, which facilitates this connection, we agree to have these old restrictions and agreements removed. We must agree, or it won't be so. Or violation of our free will would be the case. And some people will cling onto old restrictions, almost like a comfort blanket, until they are ready to release them. So, in our dreams, we will see many past lives and all sorts of experiences that are peculiar, and make little sense to the little self. But these are likely flashbacks to old lifetimes where these limiting agreements to ideas were made, and our attention is brought to them that we can now agree to remove them. It's like this. Someone has an idea in creation, and if we agree to it, we become restricted by it and tap-lined. If the idea only references creation, and the intent of the individual isn't real or referencing the is. This would account for most of the ideas then in creation. In fact, one might go on to say practically, if not all of them. All the ideas included in politics, religion, spirituality, and science. In fact, absolutely everything. The only agreement that doesn't hamper us is if the idea, though still a reference, references the real universes beyond creation. Then we are agreeing to ideas outside of creation, and so we won't be confined by cause and effect to creation, as cause and effect can only be found in creation. And the intent of the individual is important too, if their intent is pure and sincere, and if the references they are using are for the benefit of the individual in terms of awareness and the perception of the is. If that is the case, then we won't get stuck, we won't be controlled and restricted by the ideas they present. So it's well worth looking on the real side to determine an individual's intent and who they really are, because on the real side the masks are removed, the individual made apparent, and deception easily determined. In fact, if an individual's intent is pure, with the is and the presenting of it, they can actually use old references and ideas from creation, even religious or spiritual ones. Paul Twitchell did just this, easing people into the Eckankar teachings by making references to such things, because the created consciousness of humanity at that time was such that it could not have accepted the is without being introduced to it through familiar old ideas and references. So the causal body will therefore take care of itself. The tap lines, the agreements, and attachments will be dealt with accordingly, so we need not concern ourselves overly with that. Yes, it's interesting to see past lives, but only from a reference perspective.